addressing the opioid epidemic with Suboxone treatment. The opioid crisis has been, for the majority, a dire situation. In 2015, the CDC stated that there were more than 52,404 opioid-related deaths in the United States. However, these numbers keep rising dramatically to the point where it is now considered a national public health emergency. Opioid use disorder, OUD, is a severe problem that affects millions of people in the United States. The opioid epidemic has been a raging war zone since the late 90s and only keeps rising in numbers. And so are the numbers at risk for opioid overdose. According to the CDC, there were over 75,000 opioid-related deaths in 2021. These numbers are astounding and demoralizing. OUD is a relapsing brain disease characterized by compulsive engagement in opioid use, despite harmful consequences. To many, this is known as opioid addiction. The opioid epidemic has been an ongoing issue, but not enough people receive the help they need. Suboxone is a treatment that is becoming more accessible, and it could be the solution to this never-ending problem. If you wish to learn more about how the treatment is now possible with the help of Suboxone, watch this video. The statistics surrounding the opioid crisis in America are alarming. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, or NIDA, about 2.1 million people in the United States suffer from opioid use disorder. The most abused drugs are non-illicit, like opiates, fentanyl, and sleeping pills. This number reflects the growing opioid epidemic in our country that has been plaguing us for years. Without long-lasting solutions, the death toll will only quadruple in time. Opioids give a euphoric feeling or high that mainly causes addiction. The federal government has taken action by regulating opioid medication, requiring a prescription and limited dosage. Suboxone is a medication-assisted treatment used as a whole-patient approach in treating opioid addiction and opioid use disorder. Not only with the aid of medication, but it also combines the effectiveness of behavioral therapy and counseling, which will help change the patient's mindset and give them a better outlook on life, free of opioid drugs. A dual diagnosis treatment can also help patients with opioid addiction and those suffering from mental health disorders by long-term drug addiction and opioid abuse. It ensures that the patient is sound in both body and mind and gives them comprehensive care they need to ensure lifelong sobriety. With the doubling action of medication and therapy carried out by our healthcare providers, the stigma and the overall hassle of finding treatment that could stick is out of the window due to the high success rates of this treatment. The South Dakota Departments of Health and Social Services showed that up to 90% of patients who use MIT maintain their sobriety for up to 2 years. This statistic is life-changing and offers that with the help of Suboxone and other MIT programs, opioid drug addiction can be a thing of the past and eradicate the opioid crisis and lower the number of opioid overdoses once and for all. MATs, such as Suboxone treatment, help users avoid relapse. Suboxone is a combination of 2 active ingredients: buprenorphine, which acts as an opioid partial agonist, and naloxone, which is an opioid antagonist. Suboxone helps alleviate withdrawal symptoms and cravings. It essentially takes the enjoyment out of opioid use. Some MIT programs and treatments may vary from person to person depending on how the patient is from moderate to severe opioid use disorder. The abuse of opioids can be managed and controlled in MAT, which goes above and beyond standard rehabilitation by developing a tailored treatment strategy to assure that the abuse of opioids is behind you and that your sobriety is more than just temporary if you take the medication. Suboxone is one example of a science-driven solution to opioid addiction and opioid use disorder. It is an effective treatment for opioid addiction and can help people maintain their sobriety and manage the effects of opioids. Suboxone is an evidence-based treatment supported by medical research and is effective in treating opioid addiction and opioid use disorder. Other science-based solutions to opioid addiction exist, but Suboxone is one of the most promising treatments available and accessible because of the availability of telehealth, its round-the-clock accessibility, and ease of dosing. With this approach and how it will be implemented, you or your loved ones can rest assured that you will get the most out of your opioid addiction treatment and live a drug-free existence. Although MIT is an effective tool in treating opioid use, it is not widely used. One reason is that many still do not understand how opioid addiction works and how it can be treated effectively. That is because many people are unaware of the treatment options available or do not have access to care. In addition, many people do not want to take medication because they fear the side effects, are too hooked on the effects of opioids, or think it is unnecessary. However, with Suboxone being an evidence-based treatment, its effectiveness is more likely to work. If more people were educated about opioid addiction and its treatment, they would be willing to seek treatment and get the help they need to recover. All these can be available by researching or seeking opioid addiction treatment online through suboxonedoctor.com. If you or someone you know is struggling with opioid addiction, it is essential to seek help as soon as possible. Opioid addiction is a severe affliction that can have devastating consequences if not treated. There are many ways to avail of opioid addiction treatment. Many resources and tools are available to help people struggling with opioid use disorder and end their addiction. Part of rehabilitation, which most people glaze over, is connectivity. Not just connectivity with your doctors, but also with the people who love and care about you. It's essential to have an opioid addiction treatment plan that includes staying connected with your support system. It could consist of family, friends, a therapist, or a support group. These connections can help you stay on track with your recovery and give you the strength you need to overcome the addiction to opioid drugs. It may shock you how willing they are to support you throughout the process. Everyone should have the chance to recover from opioid use disorder. With the help of Suboxone treatment and other science-based solutions, people can overcome opioid addiction and live a life free from opioid effects. At Suboxonedoctor.com, we pride ourselves on being the most user-friendly site for all your Suboxone needs and questions you may have to make the transition a whole lot easier. We take patients' safety to a new level where all your information will be kept highly confidential. We ensure treatment comes to you anytime and anywhere all across America. Be sure to check our website for more information on opioid addiction and Suboxone treatment to help you in your time of need. We understand opioid addiction is a disease that does not discriminate against anyone. The opioid epidemic has been a thorn in everyone's side for the longest time, but we hope to put an end to it with a comprehensive Suboxone treatment. Visit us today and take the first steps to your future.